Before the trip, Sarakiniko dominated almost everything I imagined about Milos. It was the image I knew best. The white rocks, the sea, that almost lunar landscape that seems unlike anywhere else in Greece. And seeing it in person had exactly the impact I expected. Sarakiniko is striking. But as the trip continued, I began to understand something more important. The real mistake in Milos is trying to experience the whole island in exactly the same way. Some days work perfectly well by land. Others change completely depending on the wind and the coast you choose. And then there is a part of Milos that makes much more sense once you stop looking at the island from the road. So I do not simply want to give you a list of beautiful beaches. I want to share what, after traveling around Milos, felt genuinely useful for planning the trip. Because Sarakiniko may be one of the island's strongest images, but as soon as you leave it behind, Milos begins to change.
After Sarakiniko, reaching one of Milos's small fishing villages can make you feel as though you have arrived on a different island. The dramatic landscapes give way to little bays, boats, colorful doors, houses built almost directly beside the water. Mandrakia is one of those places where you do not really need a checklist. Arrive. Look around. Walk by the little harbor. Perhaps spend some time by the sea. Then continue. Firopotamos feels different again. Here, the village and the bay almost become one scene. That contrast is part of what makes Milos so interesting. Not simply the next spectacular beach, but the transition from one landscape to another, from the white rocks of Sarakiniko to a tiny fishing harbor, from an iconic landscape to a place where slowing down feels completely natural. And when you move south, the question changes again. It is no longer simply, which beach is the most beautiful? It becomes, what kind of day do you actually want?
Firiplaka, Tsigrado and Paleochori can easily end up on the same list, but they do not represent the same kind of day. Firiplaka is the one I would choose when the priority is simply enjoying the sea, without making the day unnecessarily complicated. Tsigrado requires a different decision. The access is more demanding, and I would not automatically consider it suitable for everyone. If the route or the conditions do not feel right, Milos offers enough alternatives that you do not need to force the day. Paleochori changes the atmosphere again. The colors of the rocks make the island's volcanic character much more visible. And this is where the useful question stops being, which beach is the most beautiful? And becomes, what kind of day do I want today? The wind also taught me something during the trip. In Milos, a schedule that is too rigid can work badly. Sometimes it makes more sense to change coast, change the order, or simply postpone a stop. So I would avoid constantly crossing the island just to chase a list. Group places by area and keep part of the trip flexible. Because one of the experiences that helped me understand Milos better began when I stopped thinking about the road.
And this, for me, is where the trip really changes. When you leave the road behind and begin looking at Milos from the sea. Kleftiko immediately makes the reason clear. Rocks rising from the water, passages, arches, caves, a coastline that can only be partly understood from land. And when the route also includes Sikia, the landscape changes again. To understand Milos, adding one more beach is not enough. You need to change your point of view. After that day, the boat no longer felt like a simple optional extra. to add only if there was time. It became one of the experiences around which I would organize the trip. Routes and conditions naturally depend on the season and the sea. But for me, the principle remains the same. By land, you can see some of the island's most beautiful places. From the sea, you begin to understand the shape of Milos much better. And perhaps it is precisely after a day like this that you feel like doing the opposite. Stop looking for the next cove, leave the vehicle behind, and simply walk.
After the white landscape of Sarakiniko, the southern beaches, and a day spent at sea, Plaka completely changes the rhythm. And that is exactly how I would include it in the trip. Not as another stop to complete, but as the part of the day when you stop rushing. Walk through the alleys, head towards the Castro, stop at the viewpoints, wait for the light to change, and do not immediately need another destination. Klima works well with the same spirit. It is easy to photograph, but it makes more sense when you give it a little more time than it takes to capture the picture. Milos is not simply a sequence of spectacular coastlines. It is also the contrast between very full days and moments when almost nothing happens. That is why I would keep at least one evening free. Because after seeing the island change so many times, one question remains. How do you bring all of this together into a trip that actually works?
After traveling around Milos, I would start with one very simple rule. Do not try to do everything. 3 days can work, but they require a lot of selection. With 4 days, I think the trip finds a better balance. Then there is the question of where to base yourself. Adamas would be the first area I would consider when practicality and easy organization matter most. Plaka offers something different. It may make more sense if you want the second half of the day to become part of the experience, with atmosphere and walking. Polonia is something I would consider mainly for a quieter rhythm, close to the sea. But I do not think there is one perfect base for everyone. How you move around and the kind of days you want can change the answer. Knowing what I know today, if I had 4 days, I would organize them like this. Day 1, Sarakiniko, the northern coast, and Plaka towards the evening. Day 2, a small selection of southern beaches, grouped in the same area. Day 3, the sea, Kleftiko, and, when the route allows it, Sikia. Day 4, fishing villages, with enough flexibility to catch up on anything the wind, the sea, or simply your own mood made you change along the way. This is a structure, not a rigid itinerary. Before the trip, Sarakiniko dominated almost everything I imagined about Milos. In the end, what stayed with me most was how constantly the island changes, from the almost lunar white rocks to tiny villages by the sea, from the southern beaches to the coastline seen from a boat, and finally to a slow evening in Plaka. Milos looks like an island to explore one beach at a time, but after experiencing it, this is how I would describe it. To really understand Milos, you need to alternate between land, sea, and villages. And you, which part would you put at the center of your trip? Sarakiniko, the small fishing villages, or a boat day towards Kleftiko?